de-icer valve. Off. Both autopilot valves. Off. Mixture control set to auto rich. Cowl flaps in trail position. Altitude, 1200. Gear down. Gear down and let. Light green. Pressure up. Neutral. I have a wheel. I have a wheel. Is the tail wheel locked? Locked. I'm going to depress the brakes to check for normal pedal pressure. We're starting our base leg now. Give me 1/4 flaps. 1/4 flap. On the final approach, I'll take 3/4 flaps. Check. Unlock the tail wheel and open the cowl flaps. And that's all there is to it. Except, of course, that in the C-47, as in any airplane, the landing isn't complete until the wheels have stopped moving. Is the procedure very different for a single-engine landing? There's a single-engine checklist on the hatch. It's really easier to show you than explain. Let the tower know what we're up to and I'll demonstrate. Tower from Army 25. The engines of propellers remain cool. Take time to determine which engine isn't functioning properly. Okay, here we go. First, I increase the power of the good engine to maximum required. And enrichen the mixture. Then I put the propeller on the good engine in low pitch. When do you change the gas selector valve to the tank with the most fuel in it? Right now, that's the next step. Left main, sir. I close the oil shutter on the bad engine. Check the gear up, flaps up. Gear up, flaps up. I pull the throttle of the bad engine back. Also the prop pitch control. And I return mixture control to idle cutoff. Now we're ready to feather that prop, so we hit the feathering button. After the prop is feathered, cut your ignition switch and turn off gas tank selector for bad engine. Set fire extinguisher selector valve to bad engine. Adjust mixture of good engine to emergency position. Turn off battery switch on bad engine. Recheck landing gear and flaps for full up position. Gear up, flaps up, Shift hydraulic system to good engine. Adjust power so that RPM is increased by 100 for every 2 inches of manifold pressure used above 30 inches. Use minimum power required. If more than maximum rated horsepower is necessary, put prop control in full low pitch.
I noticed you keep the plane at about 120 miles an hour.
That's the recommended cruising speed. During single-engine flight with any appreciable power being used, control can't be maintained below 85 miles per hour. Best results are obtained if the fuselage is held parallel to the line of flight.
What's the reason for dropping the wing on the live engine side 3 degrees?
Because I want to counteract the skidding effect of the rudder force. This attitude produces minimum drag and maximum cruising speed with a given power. Catch on?
Yeah, I get it. But to keep all that stuff in your head, you sure have to be a walking check order.
Or a flying one. But don't worry, Warren. When you get onto it, you'll be able to feather a prop or adjust a one motor in a matter of seconds.
But there are about 20 steps to go through.
All right, figure a second for each step. It took me longer just now because I was explaining it to you as I went along. Here, I'll unfeather the prop and show you what I mean. In unfeathering, with throttle closed and prop in decrease, you switch the ignition to both.
Check.
Make sure mixture control is in idle cutoff. Turn engine fuel tank selector to desired tank. And push the feathering button and hold until the prop windmills to between 600 and 800 RPM. I'm releasing the feathering button. Move mixture control to auto rich. Advance throttle and prop controls gradually to let the engine warm up.
Only you're cutting her again to show me that feathering a prop can be done in 20 seconds.
Right. Blessed by a good pilot. Get your stopwatch ready. All set?
Right, sir.
Lieutenant. Most of our transition pilots have the wrong idea of how long it takes to get this airplane operating properly on one engine. If they'd get this procedure down pat, there'd be a lot fewer accidents.
Yeah, I can see that.
Now for that single-engine landing. We're clear with the tower, aren't we?
Right, sir.
This approach is pretty much the same as landing without flaps. But when you're certain you'll make it out of the field, lower your flaps. Keep your airspeed at 95 to 100 on approach. Then when you're ready to land, your rudder flatness should be returned 2 to 3 degrees from neutral. Then it's regular procedure. Gear down.
Gear down and latch.
That's all there is to it. Except, of course, we've got to start the other engine before we can taxi. At 1,000 RPM to cool the engines below 180 degrees centigrade.
Now on the next step. Reach for 41A. I noticed you kept the flaps down after contact with the ground.
Well, two schools of thought on that, but some pilots spill them. I leave them down to serve as an air brake. They also help to retard the forward roll.
That was the first day for Lieutenant Warren. His introduction to the C-47. He came to know that ship a lot better in the days that followed. Got to know the inside of that cockpit so he could reach for every control with the familiarity of a skilled carpenter reaching for his tools of trade. He came to know and trust those instruments on the panel in front of him as real friends who, when understood, can help make flying the C-47 more of a pleasure than a job. Yes, piling up those necessary hours of transition training taught Lieutenant Warren many things. Safety in the air and on the ground became a matter of habit. Little things like checking to see if the crew chief had locked the rudder, elevator, and ailerons became important things to this man, whom so many others would soon depend upon. You remember where we first met him. Let's put him right back up there, in the cockpit of that C-47 where he belongs. He and his co-pilot, twin custodians of the lives of these men. They've got to be good, these pilots of the Troop Carrier Command. They've got to be good to fulfill the command's motto. He conquers who gets there first.